Back to the phone lines. Talk to Andy in Minnesota. Hi, Andy.
Hi, Hank. Thank you for your ministry. I appreciate you. And my question is a great white throne judgment and judgment seat of Christ the same event, or is this two separate judgments, and when do they take place?
Well, the judgments take place when Jesus appears a second time, which is to say, when Jesus appears a second time, all of us will give an account for what we did in the flesh. And so what happens is you have a separation between the sheep and the goats. And this is delineated beautifully for us in Revelation chapter 20, where Paul says he sees a great white throne and him who was seated on it. Earth and sky fled from his presence, and there was no place for them. And then says John, I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne, and books were opened. And then he sees that another book is opened, which is the book of life. The dead were judged according to what they had done as recorded in the books. So you might say there's a book of life, and that book of life contains, as it were, and again, this is metaphorical language. It's God's condescension to our inabilities. But you have a book of life that, as it were, contains the names of those who are part of the King of Life. They are associated, they are participants with the King of Life. And then you have books in general, which you might say in those books you have written what someone has done while in the flesh. So the dead are judged according to what they had done as recorded in the books. And then John says the sea gave up the dead that were in it, and death and Hades gave up the dead that were in them, and each person was judged according to what they had done. Then death and Hades was thrown into the lake of fire. The lake of fire is the second death. If anyone's name was not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. So again, you have a book that is a record, as it were, of all your deeds, and you're judged according to that. So if you are part of the kingdom of light, you're still judged for what you have done in the flesh. If you're part of the kingdom of darkness, you're judged for what you have done in the flesh. And Paul makes this very, very clear in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, where he says there's no other foundation other than Jesus Christ, but on that foundation you can build, either using inferior materials or gold, silver, and precious stones. And the day of the Lord will bring to light what kind of materials you used. And the whole imagery conjures up this notion of some people escaping, as it were, the flames with little more than charred clothes upon their back. So they have little to show for what they did in the flesh. That's the imagery that Paul is giving in 1 Corinthians chapter 3. So the answer to the question is yes, it happens when Jesus appears a second time. There's a separation of the sheep and the goats, and each are judged according to what they have done while in the flesh.